you done now?
Of course. Why not?
Well, I'll tell you why not.
Good shot, Green. Very good.
Are you a cop?
No, I'm a plant.
A plant? I thought men like you were usually called a fruit.
Very funny. FBI. That phone call from J. Edgar Hoover was for me. I told you I didn't do it. All right, who done it?
You did.
That one lady right here.
Right.
Gentlemen, steady right there.
They all did it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Clue Movie Podcast, where we break down the 1985 cult classic movie Clue, 1 minute at a time. My name is Brad Gilmore. I'm joined by the General Jeff Smith. Jeff, how are we?
Oh, I thought that was Christopher Lloyd. We finally got him as a guest.
Yeah, but no, it was just
You
me.
fooled me.
I did.
Brad Gilmore, the boat.
It was the boat, and guess what? Like minutes before us, these last 2 weeks, we're continuing our series of having some of our special Cluevians join us. The people who have really helped cultivate a community for the show, and really invest time, and we're excited to bring on, for almost literally the last bit of dialogue in the
Close.
movie. He is the often imitated. He is never duplicated. He is the one and only Zack. Zack, how are we doing, man?
Good. As a certain motorist says, I'm a little nervous. No, I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh man,
This will work out better for you than the motorist, I assure you.
maybe. You know, it's
It's
a long show.
turn around.
Yeah,
We'll tell you someone's behind you.
Don't answer any phone calls.
The rent's waiting for me.
There's someone. But you know what, Zack? This has kind of been fun for us because, again, Jeff and I quite literally have gotten to know one another throughout the duration of this podcast. And now we're getting to kind of know some of the Cluevians, some of our listeners and lifelong Clue lovers. So walk me through your Clue origin story, Zack.
All right, so this is going to be, I say, kind of weird. Let's go back all the way to February of 2023. So I've been a Clue fan a year and a half or so now. I think it turned out I had never played Clue growing up. Say, of all the board games we played, I always had the awareness of it, but that was not one of them. So I think it was my parents had gotten my daughter, she's 13 now. I think it was like maybe her birthday the year before they got her Clue, and I think it just kind of sat there. They played it one time, and then it turned out, I think we were just bored sitting around. It's like, all right, let's play Clue. So we did that, and yeah, she's like a Clue wizard. I keep asking her for tips because I think I won one game, and I think it was because she guessed the final guess was wrong. But and then I think it was later in the day, I'm like, hey, I know I'd always had an awareness. Okay, there was a movie, and I think even somewhat recently, I think I even had the awareness. Okay, there were multiple endings. Let me see if this is, if you guys want to watch Clue. So there's a Paramount Plus free trial later. They were sitting there, cards and clouds, and by the time Tim Curry's running around the mansion, I'm like, I think I have a new obsession. It's just funny, fast paced, and yeah.
So do you just kind of you said this is February 23? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so I think shortly thereafter, I'm a big movie trivia kind of guy, so I go down the YouTube rabbit hole. All right, let me see, what's out there, and it's kind of online, what's the Clue fan base like? So yeah, there's definitely the online presence, and I think I discovered, I kind of found this at a good time. I'm like, hey, there's a documentary that's coming out soon. Hey, there's a book that's coming out. And hey, there's a minute by minute podcast, which I think I joined you guys. Maybe you may have been a good 25 episodes in. So I had to do some catching up. But yeah, every Monday I've been there ever since.
Well, first off, God bless you for having to listen to us for all these episodes. But also, you're kind of more of a late to the game Cluevian overall, as far as your movie fandom goes. So before this, because you're wearing a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, you said Ghostbusters was your main obsession. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, and that's, I remember that back as far back as I can remember the movies, of course, the cartoon series. It's kind of, for whatever reason, that stuck with me. Just, funny movie full of a bunch of funny people. And yeah, they kind of all the making of stuff where they talk about, kids kind of gravitated towards this, at a young age when, you're scared of the unknown, and kind of, Ghostbusters kind of, I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Right. Oh man. So because I'm also like a big '80s movie fan. I love the Ghostbusters. But Jeff, go ahead. Jeff, we can't hear you. Something's going on with Jeff. You know what? See, this is what the things that happen, Zach. And I've had to deal with this for 90. There he goes.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Good. Sorry. I'm back. Ghostbusters, I was going to say. So Ghostbusters, I remember seeing in the theater, and the library scene definitely had me a little nervous beforehand on the famous Get Her scene. So I think that's kind of the appeal of a movie like Clue too, is that it's scary enough that if you're a wimp like me growing up, then it's just enough. Like, you're not going to be watching Friday the 13th just yet or anything like that, but you definitely can get close to the spooks.
Right. I know that's one thing Dan Aykroyd would say, so much comedy comes out of tension and fear. So, we kind of all have those tense moments and then kind of relieved by the laughter after. So, yeah.
So that was his whole plan. Get her.
Here's my question though, Zach. So being that you're coming to Clue a little bit later on than say when I was a kid, or Jeff saw it in the theater and things of that nature, were you, as with your adult brain, putting the pieces together of the murder mystery before you got to the ending and had an idea, or were you just kind of along for the ride?
I think maybe there was part of me that was trying to maybe figure it out, but then at some point I think I was more just along for the ride. But yeah, I like the idea of, it's okay, this is, somebody out there, their lifelong favorite movie, and it was here as like an artifact, just, it was waiting for me to discover it this whole time. This movie's existed since 1985. And I think I had a friend say, I'm surprised you hadn't seen it. It seems, I guess, my sense of humor, the kind of thing I would like. So I've been missing out this whole time.
This whole time, man. But you know what? Better late than never. So, okay, let's think about this minute, Jeff, because this minute is almost the last bit of dialogue we get in the film. And it has some pretty big reveals, including Mr. Green being an FBI agent. What stands out to you most in this minute?
Well, I think we talked about this last week with Ben. Now, I'm sad that Wadsworth turned bad, because he is my favorite. Even with this ending, he is my favorite. And I don't like that he was a bad guy. I don't like that he was shot. And I remember it took me years to figure out what he said as far as the line said when he says, and very good. I could never understand. And this is pre-subtitles. I don't know what I thought he said. It was just kind of gibberish. And now he says, good shot, Green, and very good. And he has that wonderful eyes going to the back of his head, like very relaxed death. Like I think he wins on the death of all the movies as far as the best.
Yeah, I would say corpse. This is the best death. Zach, would you mirror that? Would you say this is probably the best death of the movie, or do you have a better one?
Yeah, I think I do remember the shock or the surprise. That wasn't even Wadsworth. You're Mr. Body.
It just smiles. I don't like it.
He has
I
like
don't
his
like
little
it.
kind of sinister laugh as
Yeah.
well, as only Tim Curry can do.
What is funny too, Jeff, is that he's not even upset that he got killed. He's more so impressed. Like,
Yeah, good shot. He gives a
shot.
compliment.
Like,
Yeah.
wow.
And then when he sees the damage that it caused, I think he just thinks like good shot. And then when he realized, oh, this is fatal and very good.
Very good shot.
And then, I will lay here and die.
It's kind of a weird reaction. But my thing is, Zach, it's really
I hope to go out that way.
It's really not that great of a shot because he's almost at point blank range. He's rather close.
Right. That kind of his reaction goes along thinking about the other two endings where Miss Scarlet and Mrs. Peacock both pull out the guns, and he kind of has that knowing look of, he knew it.
He always knows.
He always knows.
But if he knew, I don't think he knew about Green. I don't think he knew Mr. Green was anything other than who he said he was, because he seems very surprised. Because he says, of course, he doesn't. Yeah, when he's going into his jacket to put his glasses away, he's not like, hey. And in fact, he's very slow on the draw. He takes a good 3 Mississippi. He doesn't even get to pull the trigger.
Right.
So he knew everything except that Mr. Green was FBI, even though he got a phone call from J. Edgar Hoover in the middle of the night as the night went on.
Okay. That was going to be my question. Zach, walk me through your thinking here. If you have a theory, please use this platform to illuminate it. Because if Mr. Green's FBI agent and J. Edgar Hoover called for Mr. Green, but Mr. Body, who we come to find out is Mr. Body, answers the phone, what is the conversation that Mr. Body and J. Edgar Hoover are having?
Right. That is one of those things I thought was kind of weird. It's like when you sit there and try to analyze certain things, it's like, well, this doesn't really, I say, make as much sense. Or if, why would J. Edgar Hoover announce himself? Or if that's the bumbling government, FBI, sure they would announce who they are. Or if, who's going to believe that? I forget if in the script, if the cop replies with something like, yeah, and I'm the Pope. Or he has some kind of reaction to that.
Yeah. I think that'll be our next, if we can ask AI Juniper, what was the conversation that Mr. Body and J. Edgar Hoover had on the phone that J. Edgar Hoover convinced Mr. Body, hey, don't worry, police aren't coming? Because he had to reassure him somehow that it wasn't really J. Edgar Hoover.
Absolutely. Had to have some sort of realization.
And now that we have AI, we don't have to be creative and figure it out ourselves. We just ask the app.
So do you want me to do this now? Is that what you're saying?
Sure, let's ask Juniper.
So okay. Now give me your exact question that you want me to ask.
Okay.
What is your exact question? Tell me. Oh, I guess you can. I don't know if she can hear you. Let's try it. Let's try it out.
Let's try it.
Okay, we're bringing Juniper online. Juniper, welcome back to Clue Movie Podcast with Jeff Smith and Zach and me, the boat Brad Gilmore. How are you? Now let's see if I don't know if.
Hey, thanks for having me back on, Juniper. It's great to be here with you, Jeff and Zach. I'm doing well. Just keeping busy with all things Back to the Future, wrestling, and everything else in between. How about you? What's new with the Clue Glue crew?
She has taken over your identity.
She's taken over my identity. Okay.
And you are now Juniper.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay, here
Skynet.
we go. This is weird. This is a little strange. But, Jeff, I think we're ready for... Hold on. Now she's having a connection issue. I think we're almost ready for your question to Juniper.
I'll ask her if she can hear me.
Well, hold on now. Look, of course, it's like pinwheeling me. There we go. Ask.
Juniper, can you hear me?
I think she can.
Yeah, I hear you now, Juniper. Looks like the connection was a bit iffy there for a second. What were you saying?
Okay, Juniper, in the movie Clue, J. Edgar Hoover calls the mansion and Mr. Body takes the call. What was the conversation that J. Edgar Hoover had with Mr. Body on the phone before Mr. Body went back to meet with the guests?
Okay, that's a big one, Jeff.
In the movie Clue,
Hey.
we don't actually hear the conversation between J. Edgar Hoover and Mr. Body on the phone. The scene is played for mystery and humor, with Mr. Body simply acknowledging the call before returning to the guest. The details of the conversation are left to the audience's imagination, adding to the suspense and intrigue of the plot. It's one of those classic Clue moments that leaves more to the imagination.
But what would the fictitious version of the phone call be? Come on, man. We have.
I got it.
Okay.
What?
Here's a fun, fictitious take on what that conversation between J. Edgar Hoover and Mr. Body might have sounded like. Mr. Body. Yes, this is Body. Good evening, Mr. Body. I trust you're keeping everything under control over there. As well as one can with such a unique group of guests. I hope you understand the importance of tonight. We're counting on you to ensure that nothing gets out of hand. Of course, Director Hoover. Everything is proceeding as planned. I'm glad to hear it. Just remember, Mr. Body, the information you have is of the utmost importance. The wrong move could have serious consequences for you and for others. Understood. I'll see to it personally. Good. I'll be expecting a report soon. And Mr. Body, don't disappoint me. You have my word. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a few loose ends to tie up. J. Edgar Hoover. Make sure you do. Mr. Body hangs up the phone, straightens his tie, and takes a deep breath before heading back to the guest. This imagined conversation adds...
I'm going to be honest with you. Not good.
So wait a minute. J. Edgar Hoover is in cahoots with Mr. Body?
Yeah, I don't know if I love that one from Juniper. I don't know. But now let's get back to Zach, though, for a moment. 'Cause
Okay.
Zach, another question
Zach
for
is
you.
our guest.
Which of the three endings is your favorite of the Clue movies? So which of the three endings is your favorite?
I would have to say, I know I did recently develop more of an appreciation for the Peacock ending. I think initially it was kind of just trying to come to its defense because I know a lot of people that seemed like maybe the least favorite. But I'd have to say if I had to pick one, it actually is the final ending, maybe in the way that to me it's the most satisfying, I guess. I don't know if closure's the right word, kind of after all this, everybody kind of trying to cover their tracks, everybody had a hand in it, which kind of maybe in the final, not icing on the cake of the spoofing the whodunit genre, I guess, it turns out they all did it. But yeah, to me, just seeing everybody there are parts where it feels like it's kind of, I think you guys had said, rushed in some ways, or it's kind of, Wadsworth kind of just plows through quickly, retelling everybody. So, this person did this and this person. But I do like that, I guess, as far as it feels like, giving everybody something to do kind of in that way, I guess. And it makes me, I thought of this, it makes me think of one of my favorite movies, say another Colleen Camp movie, the fake out ending of Wayne's World, the ending strung together. It makes me think of that.
Oh, yeah. I never put that together.
She was in 2 movies with multiple endings.
She was. Yeah. And, of course, Wayne's World, Tia Carrera, big fan. Big fan. Huge fan. Love
Crucial taunt.
Big fan. Now, Zach, also, here's the next question. Your guiltiest game piece character is who? Who you think's blackmail is the worst?
Oh, boy. I remember you guys talking about this. I'm trying to remember if I had a real opinion, because I know I'd say probably Professor Plum, I guess. Yeah, I guess kind of, taking advantage of patients. But it's like, well, Mrs. White did find out she did already kill up to this point. But I'd say, yeah, probably Professor Plum kind of taking advantage of. Yeah, I'd have to say that.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. It's. I think it's plum. It could be white. Sometimes it could be scarlet. I don't know. Now, of these game piece characters, who's your favorite?
I think it kind of like I'd had other movies and shows where it would fluctuate at kind of during a rewatch. Oh, I like this person more or this one, but I know the initial watch going into it, I kind of everybody in it. I'd say, yeah, just growing up with Christopher Lloyd in of course, Back to the Future, but yeah, all everything he's been in. But yeah, I think he's ultimately just his performance. And I know you guys kind of has his mostly subdued. He only gets close to Doc Brown a few times in there.
Yeah, just a couple times. Just a couple times. Jeff, was there anything else pertinent in this minute that we should make sure we get to with our guest Zack before we send things on home?
Well, it has a very dated joke about men. I thought men like you were normally called a fruit, but that's okay.
But
we'll let that one slide.
That's actually, I watched it. I caught it recently. It was on TV, and they actually cut out that line. So I'm like, that's interesting. But yeah, I know some of the jokes I know people say, don't necessarily hold up. I guess they decided, okay, we still don't want to say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. Like, I guess if you look at it in the 1950s version, right? Because they're in the 50s, right? So if you're looking at it like that, that is probably
it could have been worse.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's probably the lighter side of things. Is what I was going to say.
I would say of all of the characters, Miss Scarlet is probably the most progressive in that kind of thinking. That she's not saying it to be mean; she's just saying it as like a put down, like any other put down. Not that she's like disgusted by him in any way. She's just got her wit, but she can't help it.
But also, I mean, like if I'm cutting not that I'm big into going back and like re-editing things for today's time or whatever like that.
Right.
Like, hey, it's a moment. It lives where it lives. It is what it is. We accept it for its faults and all the great things about it. But like, it's not the funniest joke ever.
No, I don't think it would make the cut this time.
Right. Like if you were to go back, you'd be like, oh, I don't really need that. It's not the funniest thing.
Even Mr. Green says, very funny. You don't laugh.
Right.
He critiques the joke himself.
He does critique the joke.
Dumb,
lame.
Thumbs down. I do not like.
Do you have a least favorite character, Zack?
Oh.
Oh boy. That is a say the singing telegram, she doesn't really say, she's not around for long. It's hard to really say. I had a thought on the cook, I guess in the flashback where you see her getting stabbed. It's like, well, if she heard a gunshot from the other room, I wouldn't be sitting there still working on stuff. But
she's a hard worker.
By the way, great point, by the way.
Sure.
I know early on I had say the opposite of least favorite character. I think I had a fascination with Mr. Body, just his look and his presence, the way he just kind of mysterious walks in and he has his short little time before he is deceased.
Yeah.
We got it. We're getting a lot of body love from the Cluevians.
Body love from the Cluevians. Yeah.
I mean, although it was Ben's least favorite character,
but I think that was more because he didn't like what Body represented. He was mean to all the nice murderers and terrible people.
That's true.
I think that was why. But he can wrap a heck of a gift basket or gift.
He's phenomenal at
package. Oh, and the color is not. Purple and black can't go wrong.
Look, man, he's great. Well, and you know what? He's great. You know who else is great? Zack's great.
Zack is great.
Zack
awesome. Is great. As great as they come.
As great as they come, Zack. We definitely appreciate you joining us on this edition of the podcast and for listening to the show and being a member of this Cluevian universe that we are now sadly coming to an end on this show. But hopefully you follow us, wherever we end up in the podcast world, and we can have you back on a future show sometime.
Definitely.
Right. Yeah, thank you guys. I don't know how you feel about Mondays. I'm not a fan, so like I say, you guys have become my daily boost. I'll wake up, I got to go to work. Oh, there's a new episode of the Clue podcast. So yeah, wish you guys luck on your future endeavors. I will definitely be following you.
Oh, we appreciate you, Zach. For Jeff, this is minute 93 of Cluedo podcast, and we'll be back next week with minute 94, which is going to have a little dialogue and a lot of credits, but we'll see you then.
Shake, rattle, and roll.